Welcome to your daily game face.
What were you waiting for?
Dr. Kim. I was looking at you waiting. Wait, good morning.
I thought you were
I'm
looking
Dr.
at the
Kim
screen.
Lannon, and it's your daily game face. And I was waiting for my cue, and I was staring at you, and I got nothing. And then I'm looking, and you're like, "What are you doing?"
Well, I looked at the screen, and I thought you were looking at the screen, so I didn't give you the cue.
We are such a good team.
Well, wasn't the smoothest opening today.
Wow. Well, welcome to your daily game face. I am Dr. Kim Lannon. It is April 8th, 2026. And I was in a blizzard yesterday morning, and it's beautiful today.
I know, right?
I was driving back from people who follow me on all my social, right? I was driving back from my training over the weekend in lovely New Hampshire. And
I was going to say, not too far north, they got a coating.
And I was driving back to work yesterday morning at 7 a.m, and I was in a whiteout for the majority of the ride. And I took a video and posted it on my social because I was like, oh my God. Of course, 2 weeks before the Boston Marathon, and we're in a blizzard. Well, however, it's going to be 70 degrees.
Better than the day of the Boston Marathon.
I know. Right now yesterday it said, it's so funny because you know how I'm not a big watcher of the weather anymore since this is the 12th year in a row, because I've run in everything, mostly rain and sleet and snow and freezing weather. But I'm always like, please just not let it be that cold. Right. So, because I don't even get off the start line till 11:20 if I'm lucky.
Yeah.
Because we put in corrals. Right.
Well, that's good though.
I know. But right now it's saying 60, which for a lot of people is like too hot. But for me, that's perfect. And right now, yesterday it said it was raining, but today it says it's sunny. We don't know. It's still 2 weeks away. But
you have me to thank for that. Because the weather stopped sucking when I stopped going to the Patriots Day game. Which is why I stopped going to the Patriots Day game.
I was going to say, I'm not sure. When was that? Because I've had some pretty crappy weather. Just saying.
Yeah.
So anyway, but today is a balmy 25.
I know it's brutal.
But it's beautiful and sunny. So I'll take the sun. And then remember last week it was 25 in the morning and it was like 70 by 2. What's going on? So, it's the season of allergies and snow mold and sickness. And
it's April. We shouldn't be getting 25.
I know. And all the flowers are struggling to come up. And yet here we are with snow, whatever. So, and it's weird because up where I am, which I won't say where I am up north, but there's still a lot of snow on the mountain because there was to go hiking or to go into the woods. You still needed your little claws.
Well, hey, New York Times said snow is dead. What was that, 15 years ago?
Snow is not dead up there.
It's not dead anywhere.
It's dead here. Yeah. Well, it was dead here because as soon as I hit the Mass border, it was just rain.
Yeah.
But it was like a rain, whatever. But it was not up there. I was like, oh no, here we go. I'm going to be late for work. Notoriously late for some reason. So anyway, good morning. How was your weekend? Even though we're almost to another one.
I worked through it, so.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I had a lovely weekend.
Oh, we had the, I was thinking of you because of the women's NCAA tournament.
I know, right?
And everything that was going on.
Yes.
With the coaches.
I know.
I was laughing. I was just laughing so hard.
Why were you laughing?
Started at halftime, too.
I know.
Yeah.
It was a good weekend, though, for that.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, that was fun.
Yes, it was. It was very good for people that don't know. You'd have to go watch or look, and a lot of people probably don't follow.
Just love people humiliating themselves.
So many people do that.
I know.
It's unfortunate. There's so much of that. So we're in hump day, so we're closer to another weekend again.
Yep.
I feel like I'm in the last 2 weeks getting into the marathon, so it feels very crunchy, and not crunchy as in the sound, but crunch time. So
does the training pick up?
No, it's yes. For me, yes. For other people, no. Everyone else is in like a taper. Well, that's not true. I shouldn't say that. People pick what they do. I do not taper because it's a psychological thing for me. Yeah. I mean, the last couple days or whatever, I take rest, whatever, but this has been an awful training cycle, as you know, for me because of my toe and etc. So I'm not taking really any break because I've had to ramp back up later in the game than most people. Like a couple weeks ago, people ran 21 miles. No, I did 16, as you know, last week. And then I've done other long runs and I'm going to do another one. So
what percentage of the runners do you think do a 26-mile run prior to the marathon?
26 mile?
I'm sorry, 23 mile.
21 mile?
21 mile.
We usually, there's some crazy, I would say second degree outlier, 2 degrees after the standard deviation of crazy that do the full marathon at least several times before the marathon, right?
Really?
They do, but that's so rare. But that does happen, right? Because especially when you're here on marathon weekend, you hear all around you like, "Oh yeah, I already ran it. I already ran out and back." And you're like, "Oh my god," right? And I'm like, "I'm just lucky."
Who has 5 hours in a day to do that?
Well, no, because these are people that are running it in like 3. You know what I mean?
Still.
But still, not like me. But there are many because we do the Hop 21. So on the Hop 21, that's the 2 weekends ago and right before Easter, right? That's the one where you start in Hopkinton, which is where the marathon starts, and you go into the top of BC, which is 5 miles out from the finish. So that's the 21-mile mark, right? So people, there's usually, because that's a lot of that's mostly all the charity teamers that go out. That's my group, and there's I think there's 3,000 of us, but I think on that day there's usually around 600 or 700 people that are out just with charity teams doing the Hop 21, and that's the only people that are local. So you figure that people are coming in from all over the world, and training plans, if you stick to a 20-week training plan, which I was on until I broke my toe, you usually do at least a 21-mile once.
Mm-hmm.
I typically do not because it overtaxes me. The most I usually do is 16, which I've done already, but I'm going to do another one this weekend.
Yeah.
And then I will stop, and then not stop running, but I won't go further, like in terms of distance. And then there's a lot of us that do that. I know someone that's doing a half marathon this weekend, which is only 13 and change, but
do you do the mountain regularly?
You mean the one that we're talking about?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I use that to train for the downhill, because Boston, although it's a net gain downhill, there's a lot of up and down in Boston, and it's not flat. People always say it's flat. No, it's not. And it's predominantly, in my mind, it's predominantly a downhill race, but the ups are really hard. So it's good to train on the mountain.
Yeah.
And I use it because it's a transitional to go into the Loon Mountain race. So I do the Loon Mountain race up in Lincoln, New Hampshire in July. So this is always the precursor to that, because although it's April, that first weekend in July comes very quickly, and it helps because that one's the one that's the all uphill 6-miler on the mountain itself.
Have you cleared your schedule on Tuesday? On the Tuesday afterwards?
Have I?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
I was going to say.
What? Oh, yes.
I was wondering what recovery is like.
Well, so every year so I have a different thing happening this year. This will be the first time in 12 years. So I won't give all the details away, but after it happens, I'll do it. Usually my routine is I sleep in, and then because usually we do things after the marathon with people, because they finish line people meet me. Like there's actual finish line people that meet me, and then we go out for dinner. Then on the day after, I usually go to the beach, and I have my traditional lobster roll, and I sit by the beach. Nice. And I do like a little shakeout walk and run, and it's usually beautiful. This year, however, I've been asked to do a commercial.
Oh,
so working. I'm going to be foregoing my tradition. I will sleep in, but then I have to be somewhere to film a commercial on the day after, which I will give details about after I film it.
Cool.
So I'm filming a commercial on the 21st for, I can't tell you who right now. It's a hold. So, but it's going to be very exciting because I was asked to do it, and I'm like, absolutely. So I'm going to be excited to do that. It should be, I would imagine it's going to be New England based, but I'm not sure yet. Yep. I'll have to find out. But right now I think it's just New England based. But as soon as I do it and they cut it and whatever and put it out, I'll let people know. So it'll be good. It's related to running and marathoning, but it's not actually directly related to that. It's related to medical care and et cetera. It's medical.
And they booked you the day after the marathon?
Yeah.
It doesn't make much sense.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Well, they had 2 filmings, and that was the one that I could do because I couldn't do the other one.
Yeah.
So It is what it is.
Yeah.
Speaking of the marathon, I still need donations. So I have been getting trickle in donations and I'm loving that. I would love for people, please, 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 if you go to my main Give and Gain site, you are certainly welcome to do that. You can certainly Venmo me as well. It's tax deductible. It's a 501c3 charity. It goes to a great cause, as you all know. I don't need I shouldn't say I need them. I don't actually need the donations, but I'm very competitive. I'd like to get to this level. I'm at a very high level of having been given a lot this year. I'm still trying to gain more because every penny goes towards something really good. So if I get just a little bit more, I'm able to help. Instead of each of us as a team member, $10,000 of each of what we raise goes towards each of these charities.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to be able to help 2 full charities this year on my own. So even though we do 25, I'd like to personally be able to contribute to at least 2. That's a big deal. So I'm just short. $2,000 would get me over. Really, I need to be over, not just on. So, I don't care if it's anonymous. I don't care if it's $25, but or 2,000. Hey, if anyone's got it in their pocket right before tax time and they want to give it to me to take that tax write-off next year, please think that would be a good thing. That'd be fabulous. I'm also going to be transitioning into talking about something very important I'm doing a women's retreat. Here we go. A retreat weekend that's coming in May. And I want to start talking about that with people. And it's not to say that I won't be doing for men, but I am doing the first one is a women's retreat weekend for a new sort of like diverse business venture I'm going off in. It's called Rest, Restore, Rise.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about just refreshing yourself, getting yourself into the whole rise thing I've been doing all year so far for the 4 months. So it's about resting, but it's about rising at the end of the weekend by being able to integrate your reset of your mindset, integrating all of the peaceful things that we talk about by doing different things. We're going to have hiking. We're going to be doing Reiki. We're going to be doing kind of energy circles. We're doing massage. I have nutritionist. It's going to be amazing.
Nice.
It's very, very exclusive in terms of the fact that it's small. It's going to be up in Holderness, New Hampshire at the Inn on Golden Pond. It's curated, amazing breakfast. You get your own private room. We're going to have it's lakeside access. Everything's included in the price except for your dinners, which there will be 2, because that's just the way it works. And but it's going to be fabulous. It's a Friday, the 15th of May through the 17th of May, and it's going to be a really good weekend. I'm hosting it with my lovely nurse extraordinaire partner in crime, Heather Lannon, and she and I will be the ones running it and hosting it. And so if you are interested, certainly DM me or contact me if you know how to, or social media me up, because I can give you all the deets. And it's going to be a fabulous kickoff to a new venture. And please certainly do that. So that's my first start. And as after we get past the marathon, I'll be promoting it harder, but please think about that. If you have women in your life, or you want to give a good gift for Mother's Day, or you want to give a good gift to like someone for their birthday, or just women in your life that you know, or a woman to woman, and bring your friend, hey, it's going to be a fabulous weekend, and it will fly by, but it will give some reset and restore time. And then you'll be able to have some evolution and growth. Which puts me into my show today and what we're talking about. People always ask me, like, how do you come up with your ideas? And I'm like, I'm in a flow, because ever since I did the Year of You, and I've been on this thing about, people keep saying, you got to do the book. You got to do the book. So every single week I've been, these are my little book chapters. Did you even realize that?
No.
You didn't realize that? Wow. I'm surprised.
I didn't realize there was a book in the works.
Well, it's always in my head. The whole reason why I did this show is because it was like, don't do the book. We'll just do this. Remember?
Yep.
It was like, as long as I don't have to do anything other than show up, because I didn't have time to write the book. Now I'm writing the book, right? So it's these things, and then I'm putting them on paper. Okay. So we're talking about growth and change. right?
Yep.
So trying to grow and change feels exciting, but also scary a lot of times for people. And because it's unsettling, it gets you in that moment of like, you don't know what's coming. You
Right.
can't, it's not predictable all the time. And so the key is really learning how, obviously, to build joy and peace. And people get so cringed out by that word joy because it sounds so cliche and schlocky, but I'm going to try to put some meaning behind that because I have a real psychological oomph around joy that I want to talk about and what that means, because people always think of it. Well, let's ask you, what do you think? What is joy when I say joy?
Peace.
Okay. Okay. So there you go. You're if you're at peace, you have joy. There's good.
Yeah.
They go together. Well, so the key is learning how to build them together. So
Right.
joy and peace going hand in hand, because they have to grow with you as you're growing and not after the fact. And one of the human afflictions that we have is that we always are waiting for something else to happen after the fact, because, like, you know, if we wait for it, it will happen. So I call that stop waiting for arrival. Now, if you're watching, I'm air quoting arrival, right? It's like the landing time, right?
Yep.
Stop waiting on the arrival of something. Because when we are growing and changing and learning and things, often it tricks us into thinking that we'll feel good or better after we fix ourselves. We'll feel better after we do the thing,
Right.
which is actually true. We do feel better after things come into play. We do feel more, but if we are actually actively participating in the joy and the peace as we are growing, the after effects are even bigger and stronger.
Yep.
So stop waiting for it to happen to you. Essentially, stop waiting for the arrival of it on you as if it's going to happen. You know, the other side of it is too is a lot of times people in my practice, I often say, it's osmosis is not going to happen. Osmosis doesn't work here. It doesn't just happen upon you. You have to make it happen. And the problem with that is that so many people are waiting for it to happen to them. They're like, I'll do it when I feel better. I'll go to the gym when I feel better. No, you go to the gym and then you feel better. I'll eat better when I don't feel this way. No, you eat better so that you feel better. I will sleep better. No, you'll. It's every single thing I could put in, and it's like, just stop waiting for the arrival, because what happens is when you're waiting for it to arrive on you, it's stealing your present moment.
Right.
It's taking from the moment in what you have, and it's either sitting you in the past or the future, and you're getting robbed of the opportunity of what you could do right now.
It's the eye-rolling cliches, but it's about the journey. It's
Right.
not about the destination.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So instead, you need to really treat yourself like it's happening now, not later. Like, what's your joy and peace today? That's why I tell people, put your peace bubble around you. Make sure you find your joy for today. What is it? And it doesn't have to be this big thing. You're a work in progress. Everything is a journey. No one is perfect, and there is no perfect landing spot. And so you want to make sure that, you know, if you're looking for joy, you're recognizing joy. And if peace is your joy, then that's where you have to be able to recognize that. Now, let's talk about joy. I asked you what it was, and you're like, it's peace. Well, that's good. So you shrunk down what people do for the definition of it, because joy has this big meaning to it for so many people. It's like, it's astronomical. It has these things that are just unattainable sometimes.
And it's external.
And it's external again, and then it takes that thing away from you. So shorten up or shrink your definition of joy down to something better for yourself. So joy is not big. Joy is not dramatic. Joy is just often a quiet moment with your coffee.
Yeah.
That's joy, right? You saw how joyful I was when I got my coffee this morning, right? It's, I'm thinking of examples for myself. A song that just hits just right? A song that hits you in the moment, and you're like, and it brings us a moment of peace and joy over you, right? Or finishing something small that you said you would do and accomplishing that. You know, you have a list of things and you got 2 things done, and you're like, yeah, that's good. And you feel the feels of that. That's joy.
Yep.
Right? So training your brain to notice the moment. Again, I'm going to repeat that. Train your brain to notice the moment, not just let it fly by you, because you're now in the moment of having the joy. It's not these big dramatic things. And that's how peace starts building, is when you're actually training your brain to notice the moment your peace bubble becomes more strengthened, more resilient, and through the repetition of it, it becomes more solid. And if you can actually visualize a peace bubble being like a force field, there's not going to be any breakthrough spots, so that people are less likely externally going to be able to break through it, because you're going to be able to stay in it.
Well, so many people think joy isn't there without the end result,
Right?
but it's hidden all over the place every day.
Right, and people miss it all the time because they're too
because they haven't accomplished a big goal.
It's the outcome goal they're focused on, instead of staying present, because you're robbing yourself. And it's so hard because people hate taking accountability so much of the time, but you're robbing they do. People, and it hate's such a strong word, but it is. They hate taking accountability and responsibility, that they have the ability themselves to just be the ones who are
it's so easy to be a victim.
Builders.
Why take responsibility for your own outcomes?
Right. It's like, it happened to me, not I had some kind of action on it. I have my hands on the steering wheel. I have the ability to take over. Right. So, but through repetition and through consistency of staying present in that moment of building your peace, it becomes just a better, tighter circle, so to speak, around you, so that you're not missing opportunities of where there's good things happening. Right. Okay. So then here's the other, there's many pieces. So when you're actually shrinking the definition of joy and making it into this thing that's a quiet moment with yourself, a quiet moment doing something, finishing something small, or that song, right? You're also working on the discomfort that you have to sit on. Now, I touched back on this last week, I think, and maybe the week before, about sitting in the uncomfortable stuff, or sitting with your own shit, right? When something is discomforting or something is uncomfortable, right? Growth requires discomfort. You cannot grow, and you just can't. No growth. I have racked my brain in the past few weeks because people have been asking me show to show, like, can't you just have growth without discomfort? I'm like, I don't think so.
No.
I don't really think so. I think growth requires it doesn't just happen. True growth, which equals change, requires discomfort. You have to be in a spot where you have to break through that uncomfortability and get past it, so you can trust that the other side is good. It's going back to the two roads that are hard. Which road are you going to take, right? Yeah. All roads are hard, but it's like, well, the uncomfortable one that ends well is the one we want, versus the one that you keep slamming into the wall at the end, right? So it's the discomfort.
This is the meditation misunderstanding. Meditation is supposed to be stopping all thought, and that's not what it's about. It's about processing thought.
Right. It's about being able to refocus the thought.
So joy isn't about not having discomfort. It's about processing it well.
Exactly. And being able to recognize that there's joy in things if you allow yourself to see the joy or the peace. There's peace in things if you allow yourself to have it. And you have to give yourself the permission to have that, right? So, and to your point of like the meditation of like, try to free your mind. That's the biggest misnomer. Right. That's the biggest adjustment issue around meditation, because it's the same thing about making peace with discomfort. Because when you're trying to eliminate it and make it like a clean, like empty space, it will backfire. Right. It just doesn't work, because there's no way to stop thinking. There's no way to stop. There goes my back screen. That was weird.
Yeah, turtle.
Oh, I have a turtle behind me. That's so nice. There's no way to just empty out. It's just because our brains are always going. It's a matter of how we're reshaping, reframing, refocusing, whichever word you want to use on that. But it's really about how we are not trying to completely eliminate something, because we're trying to refocus it. We're reframing it so that the discomfort might still be there, but we're reworking it.
But once again, your relationship with it is under your control.
Right.
How you deal with it is under your control. How long it lingers is under your control.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you think of it like this, anxiety does not equal failure. People think, oh my God, I'm so anxious, I'm failing. Nope. Anxiety is supposed to be there because it's a signal to you that, one, something could be a threat, but when you're changing things, it's going to feel threatening because it's anticipatory anxiety. So it doesn't equal failure. It doesn't equal bad. It doesn't mean you run away from it, right?
People inherently fear the unknown.
Right.
Once you start turning the unknown into an opportunity,
right,
and change your mindset around it.
Exactly. And so when you have uncertainty, that does not equal. So here's my not equal. Uncertainty does not equal wrong path.
Right.
Ambiguity. People are like, oh, I'm not really sure. I'm on the fence. That does not mean you're on the wrong path and quit. It means that's just a sign that there's uncertainty. You know, I can't tell you how many times over 31 years of doing this, people will ask me like, you know, but how do you know? I'm like, I don't. I just have a gut feeling that.
How do you know uncertainty?
Yeah, right. It's so funny, right?
Yeah.
People like, I'm like, I don't have a crystal ball, and I will jokingly say, I'm a psychologist, not a psychic, yeah. Right? Because uncertainty does not mean you're on the wrong path. And then people are like, but how do you know what if I don't make the right decision? Then you don't make the right decision. We won't know until you do it. We don't know what we don't know, and we won't know until it happens. And then we don't know.
Course correct.
Right. And then, you pivot.
You pivot.
Right? That's when we pivot, right? Yeah. So the anxiety doesn't equal failure. Uncertainty doesn't equal the wrong path. Peace will come, or joy will come from saying, this feels hard and I'm still okay.
Yep.
This feels hard and I'm still okay. One of the things that I have been saying for years with clients is that everybody lands on their feet, especially when people are talking to me about like divorce and stuff.
Yep.
Or child custody things or job loss. I say it is hard, and I get it, and I truly do. Sure. I mean, from all those levels, like on a personal level and on a professional level, but everybody lands on their feet. And I'll say this a lot with like younger people and sometimes older people, but they sort of get it a little bit different. But I'll say at the end of the day, when all these things have passed, no one's going to blow up into a flame. No one's going to spontaneously combust. You're going to wake up tomorrow, and this still may be here, but you're going to have a different reframe on it, or not. But it's still, no one's going to, die on the bridge today on this one.
Right.
Of course, I get some people that give me kickback on that and have every possible thing that they could say about
yep.
how they're going to die on it. But that's a mindset, perception. Perception does not always equal reality. Your perception and interpretation is your reality. That doesn't mean that it's the actual reality. So, but remembering that peace and joy come from saying, this feels so hard and so uncertain and so anxiety provoking, and I'm still going to be okay.
Yep.
And if it doesn't feel okay and it's still not working, pivot. That doesn't mean it's going to all of a sudden take all your anxiety away. It doesn't mean that it's going to have all these things go away. It means that that's just a reminder that you're just needing to get through the discomfort so you get to the other side.
But when you run into a discomfort wall, you've learned a lesson and you're better experienced to make the next decision better.
Exactly.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's the process.
Right. And you have to be patient with the process. And when people hear, oh, it's a journey or it's a process, well, every day is. If you're not wanting to use that terminology because it feels cliche and whatever to you, okay, don't. But that's really what it is. And in order to be successful, you have to really look at things as it's a processing of every single day. It's not just, you're not stacking and accumulating a daily thing. You're stacking wins, you're stacking like little things, but you're not, so many people just go through every day and just like on to the next, and don't realize that what they're doing is just dragging their baggage through.
Yep.
Instead of like putting it where it is in the present and keeping it in perspective. And that's so important because you're not growth. You can't have growth if every day you're just bringing through your crap.
Yep.
So,
so many people end up doing.
That's a common denominator for people. So that's where I talk to people about, and this is good for listeners, is that you have to create an anchor. Lots of like little quotes. So create an anchor for your day. When everything feels like it's changing or everything feels like, you're in the throes of the growth and the change, you need to maintain these like little anchors, and anchors are your small constants. So we've talked about them in different ways over the past couple of weeks, but your daily walk,
yep.
Right? Journaling for 5 to 10 minutes, if that's what you do, right? Consistent sleep and wake time. I would put that as number one. If you're, and I will tell you that's hard for me, given my schedule. Yeah. That's a hard one, but I try, right? And unfortunately, if you have animals, it's harder.
Yes,
I had a rough sleep last night, let me tell you. Which is why Thursdays are always hard, right?
Well, you have cats, which is the problem.
You know what? I could say so many things, but I won't.
I was going to say these moments. I was going to list a dog, or my dog is
Right.
part of that joy and peace for me. The
Yes.
couple moments you get in the day, where you can just sit down with the dog, or take a walk with the dog, or
Right.
play ball with the dog.
Right. Well, and you can do that, with cats too. Like,
seems small, but take the win.
Well, because they're little anchors, they're little moments in your day that you're taking for yourself, and you're getting something that's giving you peace and joy.
Yeah.
And people think of those as not big enough, so therefore they don't count. And I'm going to be here to say that short moments of stillness, and those are stillness, even if you're walking the dog or I call it playing jump. I have my little Twinkies, my very large kittens now. They like to play jump toy. Jump toy is taking the stick toy and jumping around.
Yeah.
I get so much peace and joy from watching them like jump as high as they can, and like hoping to God they don't break a leg when they land. But it's just in those 2 minutes. It takes like 2 minutes just to find those moments of those anchor moments.
Because what the pets do is they give you this perspective, because whatever's going on in your life, they don't care. Throw the ball.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so I think people take for granted those anchor moments because they're just moments that happen because they have to. Like, you have to walk the dog, you have to feed the dog, you have to, you're writing in your journal. Don't take things for granted. Right. Think of them as important anchors in your day. That daily walk, that's that awake time in the morning where, like, I'll get up consistently, say at 6:30. And I may not get up and jump out of bed, but I have a routine in my head how I keep it going, so that I get myself in the day of the right mindset for a couple minutes. It's very specified, which I won't go into, of how I do this. And it's taken me a long time to do that. And now, even when I'm off to my places that, I go to, and like the weekends and train, I stay to the same anchors, no matter if I'm here, if I'm in the Caribbean, if I'm in England, I stay to the same anchors. I don't change them, because why? They set me up for growth, success for the day, and they set me up for my peace right away. I have so many people wake up in the morning and be like, I'm so anxious. Okay. Right. We need to have an anchor for the morning. So I just on the way in today, I did an anchor for someone this morning that called me and said, I am so anxious. And I said, did you do what I said? And we talked about anchors last week. And she's like, no. And I'm like, well, so, it's as simple as putting down on like a little cue card or a little sticky notes, in different places. When you wake up, it's to immediately breathe and slow down. And all she does is have the word slow down and breathe.
Yep.
And excuse me. And that's just like a 15 to 20 second anchor. That's an anchoring technique.
But what it does is it gives you a sense of control over your life and your mindset.
Right. So as soon
as
you
understanding
open up
you do have control.
And opening up your eyes, and all of a sudden being like, oh my God, I'm so anxious. And you have like a little sticky in front of you that says, breathe and slow down. Good morning, or whatever. Like that's all it takes.
Like, wait, I can beat my anxiousness
to start. To start your peace bubble of the day. Right. So you're not right into, oh no, I'm fostering this moment. All right. So creating that anchor is acting like a stabilizer, like on a ship, right?
Yep.
So it's not tossing and turning. It's like acting like the stabilizer when you're identifying that your day is starting, your goals are shifting, you have moments today that you have to do certain things, like whatever it is, you're in control of the rudder and the sail and the ship and the car and whatever it is, putting yourself in control, but being the stable piece to be able to put that peace bubble around you by just doing your anchors.
And let go of the big goal. I'm going to beat my anxiety totally. You don't. You beat it for 5 minutes. You beat it with a cup of coffee.
Or even, or 30 seconds.
And then as you strengthen that muscle, you get better at it. It gets more.
Right. And
it gets more effective.
So many people think that anxiety owns them. There was a thing when I was in gymnastics, my coaches used to say to me, and all of us, but this was because the balance beam excuse the French here, but scary as shit, right? Yeah. It's a 4 foot high, 4 inch wide piece of, it used to be wood, now it's fiberglass, right? That you'd have to get up on and fly around on.
Yeah.
right? And all the coaches used to say to us over and over, no matter how many good coaches, bad coaches, they always had the same thing: is you either own the beam or the beam will own you. And that's the same thing in life. You either own your day or it will own you. And you have to, it's like, okay, that's a scary thing. Like the beam is scary. Life is scary. The beam is hard. Life is hard, right? You have to go out and own it. And that doesn't mean it's going to be perfect. That doesn't mean you're not going to fall off the beam. That doesn't mean you're going to have a bobble or not. It means you have to stay the course. And so it's that readjusting and pivoting on that moment of have your anchor that you know that, well, if I fall off, I just jump back on.
Yep.
If, and you keep going, right? So if you have a frame of reference of gymnastics and you see people like have a wobble on the beam or you see them fall off or whatever, they jump back on because what? We have to. We're trained that the show goes on. That's how you take control. You just keep going. If you fall off and you don't get back on and you have a fear now, you're never going back.
Yep.
Right. So there's good psychology behind that. Okay. So the next piece to build on to this like peace and joy thing is reducing the noise in your head from comparison. Growth gets so distorted when you're constantly measuring yourself against what other people are doing or what other people are doing and thinking. And so this goes back to 2 shows ago, but I can't reiterate it enough on the peace and joy about this is limit your inputs, limit your externals that are making you feel behind, especially social media spirals. And also I put in there as a top priority is family. Family will often be our downfall. Family and friends, like close family friends, they will be our spiral points of getting us derailed because we'll compare to what we think they're going to think. Hence my show last week about what people think, or we're comparing to there's too much noise. That's that back chatter noise of comparing to, well, so-and-so is not like this. Now, if you grew up in a home, which many people do, of like, well, you're not like your brother, you're not like your sister, you're not like your Uncle Joe's daughter. Like you've got to be able to really come to a Jesus moment, so to speak, to be able to say, in order to get peace and growth, peace and confidence and joy in your life is you've got to reduce out comparison because no one is like you.
Right.
Your journey is not the same as someone else's. Just because someone else went to Harvard doesn't mean that you going to UMass Amherst isn't going to be just as awesome and it's not going to get you as far because that's just not
Plus,
true.
You don't have the full picture of what you're comparing yourself to.
Exactly. And no one ever fully knows, to your point, what is the whole story behind other people's stories.
Yep. On social media, you look at a profile and they have a car and they go on trips and you think that's the life and who knows what's going on in their life.
Exactly. So when you're thinking
that may be overcompensating for other things.
A lot of times. Exactly. So when you limit your inputs that make you feel behind, especially those spiral points, right? I try to get people, and I'm asking my listeners to replace those things with like, only reflect on your own progress. Where are you at in it? If you catch yourself doing the comparison point, reflect on where you are, where you come from. So if you started this path with me in January, and here it is April 8th, where are you in your reflection of growth progress today? What has been a good pattern for you? What has stayed constant or semi-constant? And ask, am I moving in the direction that I respect and expect of myself? Am I moving in the direction that I expect and respect about myself? Not am I moving in the direction that everyone else expects? Right. That is the replacement. Am I moving in the direction that I expect and respect about myself? People don't ask that enough.
Nope.
They get too busy and like, what is that person going to think? Am I moving in that? What are they going to think if I choose that college? If I choose to move there? If I choose to buy that investment property? If I choose to change a job? If I choose to get divorced? How about you just stay in your own lane and figure it out for yourself and not care about because your choice for you is going to be very different for the other person. You know, if that other person is sitting on $1 million pile of money and you don't have that, then your choice is going to be very different. If that person has never left their 20-mile radius in like their town and you're a person that has traveled all your life, what are you comparing to? Like, why does it matter? Right. So it's super important to be able to remember that you have to reduce that noise down and the comparison points have to get out of there. Compare. I have one person in my practice that compares himself and his whole family to everybody, and it's gotten him so stuck over the past like decade.
Yeah.
We're still having the same conversation in a better way now, and he's definitely had improvements, but it's such a default because the brain gets into a mindset of non-peace bubble, non-joy, because you're allowing yourself, which just kills people, because there it is again. It's like about the responsibility taking and accountability, that you have control over what you're doing to yourself and thinking. And when I say that to clients, which I'm very open about, that you have to take accountability for yourself. You have to be able to say, where's my peace in this? That is so hard because people are like, but it's happening to me. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
it's not happening to you. You're allowing it to happen to you. Some things do happen to you, but it's what you do about it. Doesn't mean that, if someone's mean to you, you didn't ask them to be mean to you. It's what are you going to do about it?
Right.
So it's that piece, right?
People are more comfortable as victims.
Of course they are.
Yeah.
Well, it's so much easier.
It's much easier. Yeah.
So there's the path that's hard that goes nowhere.
Yep.
Right. Choose your hard. And that hard is a wall that hits every single time. So always going to the recap of the reinforcement of the stackable wins. I'm also going to talk about celebrating the invisible wins, right? So we're stacking the wins, but not all progress is obvious. So people are often thinking it has to be something so tangible and right there in front of your face, because some of the most important changes in people's lives are just responding. Your win today is responding to something rather than reacting. That's an invisible stackable win.
Yep.
Setting a boundary. I think that's one of the best wins people can have is, a no is a no because it's a full sentence, or I'm going to take time for myself and not do that for the other person because I feel people pleasing and guilty. No.
That's one of the best examples of people land on their feet, because once you set a boundary and the world doesn't blow up,
exactly,
you understand, hey, this is okay.
Mm-hmm. Showing up when you didn't want to, right? When you wanted to check out and be like, I'm out, right? Or not showing up when you always have shown up because you wanted to take time for yourself. That's an invisible win, right? That's my thing, is like, I'm always the person that shows up when I don't feel like it. I have to go the other direction, show up, not show up, because I don't show up all the time for myself. So my win is showing up for myself, right? So these are signs that your identity is shifting when you're able to do those things, and you have to be able to acknowledge them. So when you have those invisible wins, like, response versus react, and I think respond versus react, setting a boundary, and being able to show up for yourself are big stackable wins. That's progress. That's growth. That's peace bubble. That's joy, because you're like, hey, I'm okay today, and it's okay if someone else isn't happy with that. Your job isn't to make someone else happy. Your job is to be a compliment to another person, but they have to make themselves happy. And when you can do it together, and you can be in a peace bubble and a joy bubble together, great. But it's not your job to be another person's, incubator of that. So, and then moving along a little bit here to letting go of the idea of some kind of perfect idea, right? We're raised in such an environment of like perfectionism, and that things have to be a certain way, and you won't always feel perfect, and you shouldn't, because it's impossible, right? I mean, unfortunately, going back to the gymnastics reference, we were always like, perfect practice makes perfect. So much pressure, right? Because it's such a mindset of pressure. So you're not going to feel peaceful if you're in perfection mode all the time, because peace doesn't come when you're growing if you think that you have to be perfect. So that's a saboteur. So it's important to be able to say, I have to let go of the idea of perfectionism. I have to let go that there's this idea of I should be ashamed of myself if I don't do this thing, or if I don't hit all the marks. The goal isn't constant calm here. It's not constant joy. It's not constant peace. It's about returning yourself quicker to the place of peace and joy when you're thrown off. Good morning, Kate. Kate is with us from Rhode Island this morning.
Hi, Kate. Lovely Rhode Island.
Oh, good morning. Love you too, dear. So it's important to really know that keeping calm and being able to return yourself faster to the calm state and the peaceful state is the goal. Oh, she's doing a radio show.
Oh, is she?
Yes, she's in PR, communications, journalism, and so on and so forth down at her college, and so she's been doing similar to what I'm doing, but in a different way.
Yep.
So
I work with my son.
So she
said, "Don't get in the radio business. Don't get in the writing business." And he ignored me all the way.
Well, she's doing TV too. So
Nice.
She's doing TV.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. So, but anyway, so again, it's about resetting yourself faster. It's about when you couldn't do it fast. What did you say?
Civil media.
Oh, civil media.
Civic media.
So it's about that return to a peaceful place or a pivot place faster. So if you can get there faster, then how you have a bad moment in a day, and for a lot of people, it's like the whole day's ruined. Instead, it's like, nope, that was a blip on the screen and the whole day isn't ruined. We're just going to move forward now. It's about being able to reset to that faster space so that you go into that peace space, because it doesn't have to ruin your whole day.
This reminds me of the old Native American parable about there's a good wolf and an evil wolf.
Yes.
Which one's going to win? The one you feed.
Mm-hmm.
But that could be applied to a lot of things, whether it's your anxious wolf or your peaceful wolf.
Right. It's the one that you're going to pivot to.
Your happy life, your unhappy life. Exactly. Which one are you going to feed?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. And if people don't know that story, it's a great story. If you go out and grab that story, it's a great full parable story. Yes. Self honesty. Stay honest with yourself. Be realistic with yourself. There was a wonderful little clip I saw yesterday on TikTok of this teacher. I want to say she had second or third graders. And this was so wonderful. And I had a joyful moment for myself watching this. Yep. If you go out on TikTok, and it could be on an Insta reel or something, but look for teacher talking about perfectionism in painting. She's got this whole class of kids, so cute. And she's walking around the classroom and they're repeating after her what she's saying. And she goes, "We are painting." And they say, "We are painting." And she's like, "We are not perfect." And they all say, "We are not perfect." There's nothing in the day that's going wrong if we don't make a perfect picture. Like, she just kept going. Right. And she's like, there's no reason to be hard on ourselves today. And the kids repeat, and she had these cute little inflections. She's like, "Are we wonderful? We are wonderful." Like, yeah. And at the end of the clip, I don't know, it was like a minute and change. I was like, that was like, what a great teacher. What a great message. She had fun. She's consistently drilling a message of have fun, draw outside the lines. It's just painting. It's okay. Yeah. And that's that message of be honest with yourself, not be harsh on yourself. Self-awareness helps you grow, but self-criticism slows you down. And we're such creatures of self-criticizing instead of, why am I like this? Saying like, what's actually going on with me right now that I can do different? Right? It's like, what can I do different? Shifting your space instead of being in pressure, being in like reality of like, it's just painting. Look at painting, right? Yep. Look at, Monet, Manet, Salvador Dali. Like, look at all painting is, there's no perfection. Like, It's just in the eye of the beholder. And that's kind of like your day. It's like, it's in the eye of the beholder. What does it look like to you? There's no perfect. So really staying honest with yourself about like, it's okay to, have a misstep or not say always the right thing, or, as long as you're in it. Kate is now telling us all about her journalistic reporting, newspaper, and broadcaster. That's what she's doing. Yes.
But this gets back to the basics of mindset, which is that's not how we were raised.
Mm-hmm. So you're constantly
climb outside of how you were raised.
You have to climb outside of how you're raised. You got to climb outside the bucket, so to speak. Not saying that everyone was raised in this terrible, awful environment, but we're all socialized as a culture, like as a full culture, to be in that space of like negative, mindset, right? And really, really
be like your cousin.
Yeah, staying in the rise moment of reset your mindset so that you can integrate something good, so that you can stand up for yourself and stand out, and that gives you evolution. That all leads to joy and peace. Like, that's the whole rise moment, right? And in saying that, I would say that keeping, this is like my last point of this, is keeping your world a little bigger than your self-improvement. So your peace bubble's here, but keeping the world around your peace bubble a little bit bigger than your self-improvement. Why? Because if your entire life becomes about fixing yourself, right, it gets heavy really fast, and then you're not growing. So if you make room for fun, relationships, curiosity, doing things that you're bad at, doing things that you're challenged by, growth will expand your life and not shrink it.
Right.
So you've got your peace bubble, which is not a defense wall. People often will think it, when I say it initially, they'll be like a force field,
right?
Keep everything out. No, it's a peace bubble so that you can make the life around you bigger without it then coming in and somehow annihilating you if something goes wrong, or stopping you if it doesn't go the way you think it should. So it's so important to be able to not focus on fixing yourself, but just being able to be present in your moments of clarity of your day and enjoying those moments. Again, going back to go back to the beginning, collect those wins, but invisible wins, making peace with the discomfort in your day, and really stop waiting for it to happen to you. Take some charge of your peace and your joy, and really be able to, as you grow with that by saying, it's arriving with me. I'm making that happen, and I'm not going to wait for it to happen. I'll ask certain people like, well, what do you think when you're going to do that, or whatever? We'll see. We'll see is not an answer. We'll see is like, it's never going to happen. You know that. It's like, what are you going to do about that? I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know. In a kid life, that's one thing. In an adult life, I don't know and we'll see are typically not acceptable answers. That means you're not doing the work.
Right.
You're wasting time. You're wasting people's time around you, and you're wasting your own time, especially when if it's on your time, that's your time. But when you've got people involved, like family and friends and and you're saying like, I don't know, or we'll see, or promises of something, and you're doing that, there's no peace bubble there. That's just like hands are off the wheel, and you're like flying out the door. Right. So really, really focusing on how you can do this. So there was my 8 or 9 point process of how to like do this. Now, if you're interested in more, obviously, well, maybe there's a book coming down the line here, but all my little chapters, but these come on the heels of each week when I've done the show. Right. People are asking like, well, how do you have joy or peace if you're always working on this? Because you're not having to work on this. If you just get the mindset of this on a daily, like take these, But
think of that mindset.
Right.
I'm quote unquote always working on this. You're sabotaging your day. You got to be aware of your patterns in that.
Right.
I get a meeting on Thursday. I'm going to ruin the next 3 days.
Right.
Worrying about it.
Exactly.
No, you can't do anything about it. Find something positive instead.
Right. Well, and that's kind of like a couple of weeks ago. Remember when I had that thing that I didn't talk about afterwards, right? If I had not taken care of that thing in that moment of that day, and then just been able to walk through it, and it was going to happen, whatever, and it came out how it came out, I had to let go of that, because instead of worrying about it every single day till the day that it was happening, I mean, was there like a little twinge in there? Yeah, but I had to tell myself, knowing the mindset was, I have no control over what I don't have control over. Therefore, I can't do anything about it. And when the time came and I knew it was coming, I was like, I knew this was going to happen. So I'm going to breathe and get through it. And it's going to be over in 45 minutes. And you know what? In a couple of days, everyone's going to have moved on.
Everyone lands on their feet.
And everyone landed on their feet. Nobody spontaneously combusted, and all worked out. I don't know if it worked out in the way that everyone wanted, but that's not my problem.
But so many people are so effective at ruining their day by dealing with things in their mind that they have no control over in the moment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And missing all the opportunities for joy and peace that's in their day right now.
Right. So my ending statement to everyone is, what is your peace today? What is your joy today? Nothing big. Could be something big, but what is your peace? What is your joy? Find your peace today.
Find a few nuggets.
Exactly. Okay. So as I'm ending the show, I will go back and remind people, give me some peace and some joy today by helping me raise just a little bit more money for my awesome charity. And also, Lou can put a link out there if you don't know what my give and gain is. Also, you can Venmo me at Kim-Lannon if you want to put it towards my run. The run is April 20th. We'll see. It's going to be a little ugly this year, I think, but
you're going to be fine.
I'm sure I am. It's going to be, and I'm always with a smile. It doesn't matter. I just keep moving forward. I just feel, one of those things in my peace and my joy bubble. Then I'm going to go out there on the course and be in my peace and joy bubble and just be like happy that I'm there. The other thing I was going to say is, and I will be making sure that I let people know women's retreat. I can't do it. Retweet weekend. Retreat weekend on May 15th through 17th. Great gift for someone.
You either own the phrase or the phrase
owns me. And it's owning me today. I cannot get it straight the first time. But okay. So that's May 15th through 17th. I'm trying to trudge forward to get me to the end of the finish line for the marathon. It's just 2 weeks away. I'm excited by the way, and I want to thank so many people. Literally, I must have over 200 some odd people who have given to me.
Nice.
And it's a very big difference. And God love people that get full on sponsorships from people like that cover their whole thing and never have to do that and get to train and do that. Because a whole bunch of my team members got to do that this year, and God love them. But you know what? There's something to be said for, even though it was exhausting, there's something to be said for how many people came out and have supported my cause, and they do it every year, and they give, and they always do it. And I love and thanks, and because it's a big deal.
Creates
and that's
a huge community.
It's a huge community that helps come out and do that for me, to get me to $20,000. It didn't happen from one person. It happened from a lot of people. And I love and appreciate all of you for doing that. And of course, I ask you for a little bit more if you can. And if you can't, that's okay too. It's just, you're feeding my competitive spirit. And then obviously I'm going to make sure that I send out people information on something totally different. It has to do with business, but just being able to have the retreat weekend. I own that one for women. And then there will be one coming for men in the fall, and so on and so forth. But please think and consider about it, or DM me for more information, because that's just, that's a place to go and find your peace bubble. And I'm going to help people regain their peace bubble by doing weekends of doing that. So on that note, you guys have a fantastic week. I will see you next week on the 15th.